Airlines once believed packing 544 passengers into a double-decker jet was the future of profit. But every A380 flight demanded over 80% of seats filled, hundreds more than industry norms, just to avoid losing money. That 10 percentage point gap turned each takeoff into a financial risk few could survive. Why did carriers get trapped flying the world's largest airliner at a loss? And what hidden flaws made its economics so unforgiving? Every A380 departure comes down to a simple equation that punishes even minor missteps. On a typical long-haul route, like Dubai to Los Angeles, airlines must fill at least 435 out of 544 seats, over 80%, just to avoid red ink. The arithmetic is unforgiving. Operating costs for a single flight reach $500,000. That is about $30,000 per hour in the air, with fuel alone burning through $12,000 each hour as the engines consume 4,600 gallons. These numbers are not theoretical. They define the line between profit and loss every time the wheels leave the runway. An analyst studying the economics of the A380 might trace a finger across a seating chart, counting empty seats and watching the losses add up in real time. If only 400 passengers board, the flight is already bleeding money before pushback. Even a minor slump in bookings, whether from a slow travel season or a competitor's discount, can turn a full-size super jumbo into a financial liability overnight. No other widebody in the market demanded such precision. The Boeing 787, for example, breaks even with just 70% of seats sold. The A350 needs about 75%. But the A380's margin for error is razor thin. Anything less than a near full cabin, and the economics collapse. That is why, for most airlines, the math behind every A380 flight felt less like an opportunity and more like a gamble. Network planners face a choice every day: pack hundreds of passengers onto a single giant aircraft or split them across several smaller jets. Airlines learned that travelers value flexibility above all. Two twin-engine jets like the Boeing 787 or Airbus A380 can each depart at different times, morning and evening for example, giving business travelers more options and leisure passengers better connections. When both planes fly at 70% full, they move a combined 616 passengers. Each flight turns a profit, but a single A380 at 70% capacity carries only 380 people, well below what is needed to break even, and leaves hundreds of seats unsold. The preference for frequency is more than a matter of convenience. It shapes the entire economics of long-haul routes. If one 787 develops a technical problem, the second flight still operates, minimizing disruption. In contrast, an A380 cancellation can strand more than 500 people, forcing airlines into a costly scramble to rebook or compensate. When demand drops, an airline can cut a frequency on a twin-jet route, matching capacity to bookings. The A380 offers no such flexibility. There is no practical way to partially cancel an A380 service. British Airways and Lufthansa put this strategy to the test during the pandemic. Both airlines parked their A380 fleets and shifted to 2 daily flights with smaller jets. The result was steadier profit and fewer empty seats, even as passenger numbers fluctuated. For most carriers, the ability to adjust schedules and match supply to demand proved far more valuable than the headline-grabbing size of the world's largest passenger plane. Every A380 relies on 4 massive engines, each a marvel of engineering and a magnet for recurring costs. In the world of airline maintenance, engines alone account for 30 to 40% of the total upkeep budget. That is twice the work compared to modern twin jets, and twice the exposure when it comes to inspections, overhauls, and spare parts. For maintenance crews, the A380 is not just another airliner, it is a logistical challenge. Each engine must be removed, serviced, and reinstalled on a strict schedule, and any delay can ground an aircraft that was built to move over 500 people at a time. The weight of the A380 adds another layer to the cost equation. Unlike smaller jets, it burns fuel not just to carry passengers, but to lift its own double-decker structure hour after hour. Whether the plane is full or half empty, every unsold seat translates to wasted fuel and money lost. Airlines pay for the privilege of moving metal, not just people. With only 251 units ever built, the A380 never generated the scale needed for a robust supply chain. Parts are harder to source, and costs remain high because suppliers have little incentive to ramp up production for a shrinking market. Even crew assignments offer little relief. An A380 typically needs 13 to 16 cabin crew, just a few more than an A350, but the savings are negligible when set against the fixed costs of such a large aircraft. For most airlines, the maintenance burden of the A380 became a constant reminder that technical ambition does not always translate to economic sense. Forecasts from the early 2000s painted a future dominated by super jumbos. Airbus's 2003 market outlook projected demand for 1,200 very large aircraft by 2022, betting that airport congestion at global hubs would force airlines to upsize. Planners expected landing fees to soar at places like Heathrow and JFK, making the A380's size a necessity rather than a luxury. In Japan, route models suggested that even domestic corridors like Haneda to Fukuoka would need dozens of A380s, echoing the era when Boeing 747s shuttled thousands daily between Tokyo and Osaka. Reality rewrote that script. The 2007 expansion of ETOPS rules cleared twin-engine jets, like the 787, for long overwater routes, breaking the monopoly of four-engine giants. At the same time, high-speed rail transformed Japanese travel. Shinkansen bullet trains began covering Tokyo to Osaka in under 5 hours, siphoning away passengers with a speed and convenience airlines could not match. As a result, the massive demand for super jumbos never materialized. The A380's design, built for a world of crowded hubs and dense air corridors, collided head-on with a market that had quietly moved on. Airline finance chiefs faced a brutal reality as the pandemic emptied airports around the world. By April 2020, global passenger numbers had collapsed to just 20 to 30% of normal levels. For the A380, this was more than a downturn. It was a death sentence. Even in the best years, break-even demanded at least 80% of seats filled. With cabins now half empty, the cost of operating a single flight, nearly $500,000, became impossible to justify. Some airlines tried to keep their super jumbos in the air, hoping for a rapid rebound, but every takeoff guaranteed a loss. Parking them in desert storage cost millions in fees and maintenance just to keep the planes airworthy. The financial pain did not stop there. Planes that once carried a list price of $445 million now struggled to fetch even $25 to $35 million on the used market. Leasing companies and airline accountants watched as the value of their assets evaporated. Selling was almost pointless, but keeping the jets grounded meant writing off millions more. The choice was stark: lose money flying or lose money parked. For most airlines, the A380 became a stranded investment, a symbol of capital trapped by forces no one could control. Emirates stands alone in the world of A380 operators. While other airlines struggled to fill seats, Emirates built its entire long-haul strategy around the super jumbo. With 116 A380s in its fleet, more than all other carriers combined, Emirates turned the jet size into an advantage by funneling global traffic through Dubai. The city's location, bridging Europe, Asia, and Africa, lets Emirates connect passengers from dozens of origins to dozens of destinations, all on a single stopover. This network design is not just about geography, it is about scale. By consolidating demand, Emirates routinely fills 85% or more of its A380 seats, a level that few rivals can match even in peak season. The airline's focus on premium service adds another layer. Each A380 offers up to 20 first-class suites and 76 business-class seats, catering to high-paying travelers who value comfort and exclusivity. This premium mix boosts revenue per flight and helps offset the high break-even threshold. Even as the global market for A380s collapsed, Emirates doubled down, purchasing 2 used jets for a combined $70 million, just a fraction of their original price. For Emirates, the A380 is not a burden. It is a brand signature and a profit engine, but only because Dubai's unique hub model, premium product, and government-backed infrastructure come together in a way that no other airline can replicate. Today, airlines face a future shaped by flexibility, not sheer size. As demand shifts and efficiency rules, the A380 stands as a warning. More is not always better. In aviation's race for profit, the true challenge remains matching capacity to reality, seat by seat, flight by flight.